The hangar smelled of fuel and metal, a usual scent for the morning briefings. Mechanics shuffled around, pilots checked their flight logs, and the distant hum of jet engines echoed off the steel walls. Amid the organized chaos, a woman in a simple gray hoodie and black cargo pants walked quietly along the flight line, carrying a clipboard and a rag. Captain Harris, a decorated pilot known for his arrogance, noticed her wiping down a control panel near one of the training jets. He frowned. "Hey, that's restricted equipment," he barked, tossing his helmet onto the bench. "Maintenance staff aren't supposed to touch those displays." The woman didn't respond immediately. She finished wiping the surface, neatly folded the rag, and set it aside. Her calmness only irritated him more. "Did you not hear me?" He stepped closer. "Who authorized you to be here? Cleaning staff need to stay out of pilot areas during drills." She looked up at him then, eyes sharp, unreadable, and steady. "You're Captain Harris, right?" she asked in a quiet tone. He crossed his arms. "Yes, and you are." Before she could answer, another pilot chuckled nearby. Probably one of the janitors they brought in from logistics. "They're not supposed to touch aircraft systems." That made Harris smirk. "Exactly. Go clean the break room or something. You're in the way here." A few nearby crew members stopped what they were doing. Something about her posture didn't fit the cleaning staff label. She stood too straight, too deliberate. Her boots weren't standard base issue either. Tactical grade, polished, worn only by those who'd seen combat. Still, Harris didn't notice. He took a step closer and pointed toward the exit. "You need to leave this area right now before I report you." The woman let out a slow breath, set down her clipboard, and said evenly, "Go ahead." Her tone was so controlled that it made him hesitate. Before he could reply, a siren blared across the hangar. "Attention all personnel. Command inspection in progress." Everyone snapped to attention. 3 high-ranking officers entered, followed by a group of security staff. In the center of them walked a tall general, and right beside him, to Harris' shock, the same woman he had just kicked out. Every pilot's jaw dropped. The general stopped. "Colonel Vale, is this the pilot you mentioned?" She gave a small nod. "Yes, sir." "Captain Harris." The general's face hardened. "Captain, meet Colonel Alexandra Vale, decorated Navy SEAL, Joint Task Force Commander, and the reason you still have that aircraft to fly after last month's incident." Harris' face drained of color. His salute stuttered, his voice barely a whisper. "See Colonel Vale." She met his eyes, calm, cold, and commanding. "Next time, Captain, don't assume rank by the uniform. Some of us prefer to get our hands dirty." Silence swept the hangar. Even the engines seemed to pause. The air in the briefing room was heavy with embarrassment. Captain Harris sat rigid in his chair, sweat prickling his neck as Colonel Alexandra Vale took her seat at the head of the table. She no longer wore the hoodie or the simple cargo pants. Now, the polished insignia on her uniform glinted under the overhead lights, each decoration telling a story of operations most of them had only heard whispered about. Every officer in the room stood when she entered, and when she finally gestured for them to sit, the scraping of chairs echoed like thunder. "Before we begin," General Rowan said, his voice hard as granite, "I believe there's an issue to address regarding respect and identification on this base." His sharp eyes flicked toward Harris, who stared straight ahead. Vale's gaze followed, calm but cutting. "It's all right, sir," she said smoothly. The captain made an assumption. "It happens when one forgets that leadership isn't just about rank, it's about awareness." A murmur rippled through the room. Harris swallowed hard. "Colonel, I didn't realize." "You didn't need to," she interrupted, her tone flat but controlled. "You saw someone you thought was beneath you and reacted accordingly. That's what concerns me more than your lack of recognition." A heavy silence followed. Even the projector hummed quietly in the corner. Vale stood and walked to the front screen, her boots clicking sharply against the floor. She tapped the console, and a classified mission file appeared on the monitor, Operation Iron Mirage. The header read Top Secret, SEAL Command. "This," she said, "was my last mission, the one that kept this base from being targeted last spring. I led a 5-person infiltration team across enemy borders. 3 of those men are still recovering because we did our job under the radar. You, Captain, were flying the evac jet that picked us up. Remember the coded distress signal you received that night?" Harris blinked, realization dawning in his eyes. "That was you." Vale nodded slowly. "Yes. While you were circling above, we were on the ground making sure your landing strip stayed intact. The same cleaning staff you kicked out this morning. The room was utterly still. A few officers exchanged stunned glances. Let that be a reminder, she continued, her voice steady but sharp. The uniform doesn't make the soldier. Respect does. Every technician, janitor, and cook on this base has earned the right to be here. Some of them have worn these stripes longer than you've been in the service. Her words hung in the air like a blade. Then she looked directly at Harris one last time. You'll report to me for the next month, Captain. You'll assist in logistics training and maintenance coordination. Maybe then, you'll learn what leadership really looks like. Harris stood, saluted stiffly. Yes, ma'am. Colonel Vale returned the salute. Dismissed. As he left, the room remained silent, a quiet respect replacing arrogance. Everyone knew they'd just witnessed a lesson no manual could teach.